Hello everyone. So today we will start the next chapter, that is DC circuits and measurements. DC means direct current. So direct current circuits and its measurement, all that we have to discuss in this chapter. So this chapter is very important regarding your both theory point of view as well as practical point of view, because for practical the instrument that we will study in this chapter are the experiment that you have to do for electricity in class 12th, like meter bridge, potentiometer. So because of that these lectures are very important, and in these lectures only I will explain the experiment also, so that you know how to do that experiment, and when the school will reopen and you will get the chance to do the practical, so you are able to do the practical. So because of that I will explain the practical how to do it, and when we will get the chance, so in the lab also I will again explain you, so it will be quite helpful for you. So follow the lectures thoroughly. So DC circuits and measurement. So first thing is about, there are two types of current, alternating current and direct current. So what are the sources of direct current? So the first thing that comes in our mind is your electric cell, then we have battery. So all that are the sources of direct current. So what is an electric cell? Since you have studied in chemistry about all the electric cell in detail, here we don't have to go in detail, we'll just find out the basic theory of the electric cell, and the main point that we have to discuss is about the electromotive force of a cell. So the topic in this lecture we are going to discuss is about the electromotive force of a cell, terminal voltage, voltage drop and internal resistance. So all that are related with a cell, so all that we are going to discuss one by one. So first thing that we will discuss is about electric cell. So as you all know that the electric cell is a cell which converts the chemical energy to the electrical energy, and we also say that the electric cell is a source of electrical energy which maintains a continuous flow of charge in a circuit. That means the purpose of the cell is not to produce the charges. Cell does not produce the charge. Cell gives the electrical energy to the charge, and due to which the charge flows within the circuit. Is it clear? So cell never produces a charge. Charge can never be produced. Charge is always conserved. So cell is only the purpose of the cell, or we can say cell provides the necessary electrical energy to the charges, due to which they flow, and when they pass through a external, means a resistor or whatever instrument is connected, it gives that electrical energy to that circuit or the instrument connected and loses that energy. That means the electrical energy convert, like if it is a resistor, so the electrical energy converts into heat energy. So we had discussed earlier also, so same thing. So the purpose of the cell is that electric cell is a source of electrical energy which maintains a continuous flow of charge in a circuit. Now this is a diagram, simple diagram of a electrochemical cell. So in this we know that there are two electrodes, one is having positively charged, second is having negatively charged. Negatively charged is your anode, positively charged cathode, and they are dipped inside a electrolyte. Now due to the chemical reaction taking place inside the cells, we know that type of reaction, that is a redox reaction. That means the oxidation as well as reduction, and due to which one rod becomes negatively charged and one rod becomes positively charged. Now there is a difference in the concentration, so there will be a potential difference created between the two electrodes, and when the cell is not connected, that means the cell is not used, that means it is not connected with any external circuit. So in that case the potential difference created between the two electrodes is known as electromotive force. Is it clear? So we can define electromotive force as a potential difference created between the two electrodes or terminals when no current is drawn, that means the cell is not in use, when it is not connected with any external circuit. So in that case, the potential difference created between the two electrodes is called your electromotive force. Now what is the mechanism inside the cell, what happens? So I am going to give you a brief idea of it. So inside the cell, we know that electric force, electrostatic force. So electrostatic force act between the two charges, and similar charges are there, then there will be force of repulsion, and opposite charges, then there will be force of attraction. Now a different mechanism takes place inside the cell. So inside the cell we have a non-electric force acting between the two charges. Is it clear? So what happened inside, that due to the chemical process taking place inside the cell, chemical process takes place, chemical reaction takes place, so due to which there will be a chemical force acting between the cell, within the cell, and this chemical force also known as the non-electric force. Now the work of this non-electric force is that it maintains a positive charge. What it does, the electric force, non-electric force. Electric force means that is a force acting between the two charges. There will be force of attraction and there will be force of repulsion. That will be your electric force. This is a non-electric force, chemical force, which is non-electric force. So its work is that it separates positive charge on one side and negative charge on one side. Is it clear? So there will be accumulation of positive charge on one side of the battery and the negative charge on the other side of it. Now what happens when there is a positive charge accumulation on one side and negative charge accumulation on the other side? So there will be a creation of the electric field inside the cell. Now due to which the electric force also acts. Now this phenomena of accumulation of the positive charge on one side and the negative charge on other side will happen till the force, that means the non-electric force, becomes equal to the electric force. By the way, the direction of this non-electric force and the direction of this electric force are complete opposite to each other. Clear? So due to which when these two forces act inside, now when the magnitude of this force and this force, that means the non-electric force and the electric force becomes equal, so in that state there will be the accumulation of charges will stop. Is it clear? When this non-electric force and the electric force which is acting within the cell or a battery stops, so it becomes equal, so the accumulation of charges will stop. Now when the accumulation of charges will stop, so in that case, suppose if there is a positive charge here, so to bring this positive charge from this negative to the positive end, what we have to do? So that means we need to do the work. So who will do the work here inside the cell? So this non-electric force will do that work to bring this positive charge from the negative end to the positive end, and this work done will be known as the electromotive force. So this is basically the mechanism inside the cell, what happens. So inside the cell there will be non-electric force, or outside the cell there will be a electrostatic force, or you can say electric force acts. So electric force acts means there will be a force of attraction between two opposite charges, and there will be force of repulsion between the similar charges. But inside the non-electric force acts, and that its work is to accumulate the positive charge on one end and to accumulate the negative charges on other end. Is it clear? So now when this potential difference is now maintained, so this will become your negative end. At negative terminal this will become the positive terminal, and now a potential difference is created between the two electrodes. And if these are connected with an external resistor, so in this case the electrons will start flowing. The electron will flow from the negative terminal to the positive terminal of the electrode, and the current will flow from the positive to the negative terminal opposite to the direction of the flow of electron. So when the electron will come here, so you can see that this is a negative electrode. So when the positive this is your positively charged electrode, so you can say that inside how the electron will go from positive to the negative terminal. So because of that I am saying that there will be a non-electric force acting between it, and due to which the electron will go from this positive to the negative. That means it will provide energy, due to which this electron comes from the positive to the negative electrode. Is it clear? So this is the mechanism that works for a cell. Now coming to the electromotive force. So as I told you, the work done by the cell in forcing a unit positive charge to flow in the whole circuit is called the electromotive force of the cell. So we had discussed this topic completely, you know, in class 10th. You have studied this topic about in class 10th. So you know that electromotive force in class 10 we had defined it as the work done per unit charge in taking a unit positive test charge around the complete circuit. That means inside that as well as outside the cell. And so EMF we represented by epsilon. Is it so? And also we know that inside the cell the work done will be known as voltage drop, and outside the circuit it is known as terminal potential difference or terminal voltage. So we give the EMF will be equal to the sum of the terminal voltage plus voltage drop. This I hope you all know, because you all have studied in class 10 this thing. Epsilon we represent for EMF. In some book it is given in E, like in this class we will study in your book it is given as capital E. So both is correct. So epsilon is the symbol for EMF. Capital V we take for terminal voltage, and small v we take it for voltage drop. So voltage drop will be inside the cell, terminal voltage will be outside, and the total will be your EMF. Now what happens, we know that for a cell, when we use the cell, that will be used in torch or in watches, in the instrument. So we know that there will be a voltage EMF written on that. So sometime it is like 1.5 volt. So when we take the cell, so it is written 1.5 volt. But when we connect this cell in a circuit, if it will give 1.5 volt or not. So if we want to check that, so we will find that when we connect that cell in a circuit, the value 1.5 it will not give. It will give less than 1.5 volt. And why it will give less than 1.5 volt? Because now the cell is in use, and when the cell is in use there will be an internal resistance. So internal resistance, so within the cell the resistance offered by the electrolyte to the flow of current is called internal resistance. So because of the internal resistance, when we use a cell, when a cell is in use, it does not give the exact value, that is the EMF written on it. It will be always less than the value it is written on the cell. That means it is less than 1.5. It is a 1.5 volt cell, so that means it will give 1.3 or 1.2 like that. So this is the difference. And now we will study about the terminal voltage, and then we will study about the internal resistance. So now coming to the formula for EMF, so we had discussed now cell, we represent it like this, positive terminal, and this is the negative terminal. I current is flowing across this resistor R. So if we consider that small charge dq flows through this circuit, so in that case the EMF will be given by E is equal to dW by dq, where dW is the small work done in forcing the charge dq from negative to the positive electrode. Now the unit of EMF, as I told you, it can be represented by E, it can be represented by epsilon. Now unit of EMF will be your joule per coulomb, which is called volt. So electromotive force, the word indicates that it is a force, but it is not a force, it is a potential difference, as we had seen. Also the word electromotive means electron motion. So that means it provides the motion to the electrons. So EMF will be equal to, we can write it as the electric work upon charge. And what it shows? So it shows how much work can be done for every coulomb produces by a redox reaction in an electrochemical cell. As I told you, in an electrochemical cell there will be a redox reaction taking place. So what EMF indicates? EMF shows how much work can be done for every coulomb produced by a redox reaction in an electrochemical cell. Now you all know that in 1 coulomb of charge how many numbers of electrons are there, because one electronic charge, one electron will be equal to 1.6 into 10 raised to the power minus 19 of coulomb. So that means that value is 1.6 into 10 raised to the power minus 19. So 1 coulomb of charge has how many number of electrons? So I hope you all know that it will be equal to 6.25 into 10 raised to the power 18. That means this much electrons contains by a 1 coulomb of charge. So you can think that when 1 coulomb of charge moves, how much work is done. So EMF indicates how much work can be done for every coulomb produced by a redox reaction in an electrochemical cell. Now in order to generate an electron flow inside a conducting wire, a source of EMF is required, and that source of EMF is your cell or battery. So we can define EMF. EMF is defined as the electric potential difference that exists across a battery when electric current flows. Also, EMF of the cell is always directed from the negative electrode to the positive electrode. Also, a battery provides a nearly constant source of voltage difference. For any real battery, the actual measured voltage is always slightly less than the EMF. Is it clear? So these are the few important points related with the EMF. Now coming to the terminal potential difference. So as I told you, terminal potential difference is your voltage which will be, that means we can define it as the work done per unit charge in carrying a unit positive charge around the circuit when connected across the terminals of a cell. That means when the cell is in use, the voltage that we measure will be the terminal voltage. When cell is not in use, that will be your EMF. But when cell is in use, that will give you the terminal voltage. So now we are going to find out a formula for terminal potential difference. So suppose the EMF of a cell which is connected in a electric circuit is E, and for the flow of charge dQ in the circuit, the energy given by the cell is dW. So we know that by the formula of EMF, E is equal to dW by dQ. So this is a circuit in which you can see that EMF, a cell having EMF E is connected with 3 resistors, external load we can say that. There will be 3 terminals in which there will be a different potential difference. So across it is taken as V1, across this one it is taken as V2, across this it is taken as V3. The small work done across this one is dW1, across it is dW2, and across it is dW3. So the charge flowing in all the 3 will be same, that is dQ. Now if the energy consumed in the different part of the circuit, that will be the work done. So it will be dW1, dW2, dW3, and like if there are more, so E will become equal to dW by dQ, and this will be equal to dW1 plus dW2 plus dW3 up to so on upon dQ. So we can write this one as dW1 by dQ plus dW2 by dQ plus dW3 by dQ plus so on. Now dW by dQ will be your V1, dW2 by dQ will be your V2, and like dW3 by dQ will be equal to D3. So E will become equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3 plus so on. So we can say that V1 plus V2 plus V3 are the potential energies consumed in different part of the circuit when unit charge flows through them. and these are called the terminal potential differences across different part of the circuit. Is it clear? So from here the charge will give, this cell will give the charge to the charge dq, the electrical energy, and that energy it will provide it to all these three resistors, external load, and due to which a part of energy is consumed here, a part of energy is consumed here, a part of energy is consumed here, and these energies, potential energies, will be your what? Terminal potential difference across the different part of the circuit. We define potential difference across the two terminals, so that is why across this terminal we have V1, across this we have V2, across this we have V3. So the next point is internal resistance of a cell. Now next is your internal resistance of a cell and back EMF. So again, you know about internal resistance. So the resistance offered by the electrolyte, because inside the cell there is an electrolyte and it offers resistance to the flow of current. So the resistance offered by the electrolyte of the cell to the flow of current through it is called the internal resistance of the cell, and it depends on the following factors. So it is directly proportional to the separation between the two plates of the cell, that means anode and cathode. It is inversely proportional to the plate area dipped in the electrolyte, that means it depends on the area of the cathode and the anode. It depends upon the nature, concentration and temperature of the electrolyte and increases with the increase in concentration. So these are the factors on which internal resistance depend, and also it is not constant because it increases slowly as the cell is used, because when the cell will be used, more and more resistance it will provide. So because of that it is not constant, it remains variable. So now this is a circuit in which you can see this is a cell. Internal resistance of a cell we represent next to the cell. So this whole combination is about your cell and the internal resistance. In most of the circuit we don't represent the internal resistance, but every cell have the internal resistance. Because we are studying about internal resistance, that is why it is shown here. You can see that cell and internal resistance, and it is always represented by small r, and external resistance we take it as capital R. So this is a circuit in which this is the internal resistance, this is a cell, a voltmeter is connected, external resistance R is connected, this is a key K, and a ammeter is connected here. So when a steady current is established in the circuit, so in that case a charge dq flows in the circuit in time dt. So again by the definition of EMF we have the work done by the cell is given by the total work done by the cell is given by dW is equal to E into dq. So dq will become equal to, if dq charge flows through time dt, so dq will become equal to I into dt. So E will become E dq, in place of dq we write I dt, so this will become E I dt. Now the potential difference across the resistance is V, so we can write the external work done will be equal to V into dq, and dq will be equal to I into dt. Now the potential drop across the internal resistance R inside the cell, that is your potential drop small v, we represent the terminal voltage as capital V, and we represent the voltage drop by small v. So the potential drop across the internal resistance R inside the cell will be V is equal to I into small r. Now we can write the internal work done as V small v into I dt. Just like here for external it is capital V dq, here it will become small v dq, and dq will be your I dt. So this will become V I dt. So this will become equal to I R into I dt. So this will become I square R dt. Now by the law of conservation of energy we can say that the total work done will be equal to the sum of internal plus external work done. So in this case we have E is equal to V plus IR. So V will becomes equal to E minus IR. So what does it indicate? That the terminal voltage is less than the EMF by a factor IR. So we can say that when the cell is giving a current, the potential difference V across its plate is less than its EMF by a factor IR, because V is equal to E minus IR. So potential, this terminal voltage become reduced by a factor by IR, and this factor is known as back EMF. So the product IR is called the back EMF as it opposes the flow of current through the cell. Now when the circuit is open, that means when the key is open, no current will flow. In that case, the voltmeter will measure the EMF. When here the key is open, so what does the voltmeter measure? So it will measure the EMF of the cell, so V will become equal to E. And when key is closed, so when key is closed, now what it will measure? So it will measure the terminal voltage. So in that case, it will measure the value less than EMF, that will be your terminal voltage. Now since there is no direct way to measure E minus V, we can't find, so that is why this IR factor, E minus V is your IR. So this IR factor is known as lost EMF or back EMF. Is it clear? So by this equation 1, which we had got V is equal to E minus IR, we can get R is equal to E minus V upon I, and also we know that I is equal to V upon capital R. So R will become equal to E minus V, and in place of I we place V by R. So this will become, rearranging it, small r will become equal to, this R will come in the numerator, R E minus V upon V. So VV is, you can see here, so we can write E by V minus 1 here. So this is a relation between the internal as well as external resistance. Small r is equal to capital R, E minus V minus 1. Now what will be the value of current flowing in the circuit? So if the current in the resistance, external resistance is R, so I will become equal to V by R. Now again substituting this value in this equation 1, will get I is equal to E minus IR upon R. So IR will become equal to capital E minus IR, small r. So E will become, taking this is on this side, E will become equal to I into R plus R. That means external resistance plus internal resistance. So I will become equal to E upon R plus R. Or we can say that current in the circuit will be equal to the total EMF divided by the total resistance. So above equation expresses the law of conservation of energy for an electric circuit. Now this also, you know, I think that during discharging V is equal to E minus IR, that means the terminal voltage is less than EMF. And when the battery is charged, when we charge the battery and during the charging case, we have V is equal to E plus IR. So in that case, terminal voltage becomes greater than the EMF of the cell. Is it clear? So these are the topics related with the EMF of a cell that we had discussed about EMF, terminal voltage, voltage drop, and internal resistance. Now in the next class we will discuss about the combination of cells. Thank you.